Mark Meirowitz is professor at State University of New York Maritime College and joins us now live from New York. Mark, good to talk to you again. We were talking earlier about the politics that is rinsed through these proceedings so much that you can barely tell law from politics. But there we heard it from Alina Haber, lawyer acting for Donald Trump, mapping out the defense, which is that every time the Democrats have a problem or have a legal issue of their own, they throw the mud at the Trump camp. And so we're seeing already, before this appearance even happened, the weaponization of justice to protect or advance politics in the United States.
Yeah, I don't see it at all. I mean, really, yeah, connecting the dots, and there are things going on here and then things going on there, and they're all connected as if there's some big conspiracy. I don't see it. I think it's this is look, who's the audience here? Okay, what is the point? The point is there's a legal piece to this and a political piece to this. The legal piece is proceeding in the courts. The political piece is proceeding in the American society. We have a presidential election going on. So what's really going on here is a question, and this is what I think they're trying to get at, which is the question of, yeah, everything's connected, but it's not fair, because what they're really trying to do is target President Trump and so forth. And I don't see that that's really a legal argument, but it really is a political argument to try, once again, to bolster support among the supporters of Trump. And in fact, those supporters have been hanging on to Trump without not only that the numbers going down, the numbers are going up. Now, it's interesting actually to look at the previous presidents, some previous presidents who were involved with alleged wrongdoing and corruption and so forth. Taking Nixon, for example, Nixon was never impeached. He actually resigned, and then he was pardoned by President Ford. President Clinton was impeached because of certain wrongdoing related there with Monica Lewinsky, but also there were a number of cases against President Clinton that were proceeding, such as Whitewater. No arrests of any kind. He was accused of perjury and so forth. No arrests of any kind, no convictions. And interestingly, also President Harding, and this one is kind of a historical thing, his people, maybe he wasn't, but his attorney general, his interior secretary, were involved in corruption. No conviction. No, look, he died in office, and it becomes a historical point. So why this case is so important is because you literally have a question of politics and legality and a presidential election going on, and how do you conduct that election? And it really becomes a question to the American public to understand better whether or not this will affect their decision on their vote. And at the same time, the thing is moving along in the courts. So that puts it's a big predicament for democracy to have to deal with that at the same time. At the same time, that is really a big problem, I think.
Professor, we're just seeing some of the large SUVs pulling into the federal courthouse. That could be the rival of former President Donald Trump at the federal court. He's going to be fingerprinted. He's not going to be handcuffed. He's been through this before. No mugshot. But still, he's sounding confident on social media, but he must be aware that this is a battle for his political future and his criminal reputation, or his legal reputation.
Well, it's interesting because, as I think we discussed before, he tweeted today that he believes that he needs only one more indictment in order to win the presidency. I mean, so is that not indicative of the attitude of where maybe deep down he's upset about it? And they do say that he personally shows that he's very upset and angry about it. But out there, in terms of where he's interfacing with his supporters, he's really showing that he believes this is, as indicated by his attorney, an element of election interference. This is going to be a real test for the American democracy, for the American political system. This is a real test because, if you recall, this question had come up whether a sitting president could be indicted. And the Justice Department, I believe, had a memorandum that said, no, can't do that. And if you look at the Constitution actually says that if a president is accused of high crimes and misdemeanors, whatever that is, because we don't know, because we never threw out a president for that reason, but if that's what they're accused of and they're found guilty in the Senate, then when they leave office, they can be prosecuted. Well, we know Trump was impeached twice in the House, accused for wrongdoing, but never convicted. Now we're coming to an election campaign. Now, I think it's important to keep in mind what we're looking forward to in 2024 in the United States. What we're looking forward to, and actually I'm not looking forward to it too much because it's very dismaying, is in fact you're going to have all these court cases proceeding, right? The New York case on Stormy Daniels, the Miami case on the mishandling of the documents, and this really gigantic case where the president who was in office is guilty, allegedly, of or alleged to have committed wrongdoing and conspiracies. At the same time, do you think that I think the Republicans in the House, I think most likely are going to go ahead, and the House has the right, the power, the sole power of impeachment. Impeachment is accusation. And as you've seen in the news, there are all sorts of these stories and discussions about President Biden and Hunter Biden. That's all out there. And is it completely impossible that the House could bring articles of impeachment and then it would go to the Senate for a trial? In the Senate, you need 2/3 vote. There's no way the Republicans are going to get a 2/3 vote to convict President Biden, just like when Democrats impeached Trump, they couldn't get a 2/3 vote from the Senate to convict President Trump. So we're once again going down this rabbit hole. We're going to have impeachments possibly of Biden, and we're going to have court cases with Trump. Now, how is that fair to the American people, without going to the merits of any of these things, that in 2024 we should be focusing on the political campaign and the contending candidates and what their positions are, what their policies are, but we're not doing that. We're following court cases and we're following impeachment proceedings. So what you have is a stretch to the American political system, which hopefully can hold itself together and have a legitimate election in 2024, or else we're going to go through this again and again. And this is very, very problematic. I'm looking at it more from a societal point of view, the polity, our society. How do we survive this type of a strain on our system where everybody's fighting with everybody else about basic ideas? Criminal cases are being brought against the president. I'm not going to the merits of it. I'm not going to the merits at all. Is it a weak case? Is it a strong case? Truth of the matter is, the country is completely polarized and divided on that also, as they are on everything else. If I watch one set of media, I understand the president committed many crimes. If I watch the more conservative media, I find out that the indictment doesn't make any sense. I mean, how is that possible? Of course, that's going to be decided in our political system, in our legal system, and it's going to end up in the Supreme Court. Keeping in mind, the Supreme Court has 6 conservative judges. 6 conservative judges, 3 of which have been appointed by President Trump.
Mike Meirowitz, pleasure talking to you. We'll get back to you in due course. Thanks very much for now.